Number 60 here in section 4.5. Again, when we have these equations, there's three things we got to be able to do. Write it in, identify what the conic is, write it in standard form, and be able to graph it. Right here, let's identify the conic. Again, we have an x squared and a y squared. We know it's not a parabola. Now we're going to look at the leading coefficients. One of them is positive, one of them is negative. We know this is a hyperbola. Okay, for hyperbola, what we're going to do is we're going to do it very similar to a circle and ellipse. We're going to isolate the x and y terms on one side and move all the constants to the other side. So all I did was move the 72. The x only has just x squared by itself. Okay, what we're going to do is we want to have a minus sign in between. So we're going to keep this minus sign out here. So we're going to have x squared minus 9 y squared minus 4y equals 72. Okay, on the x squared, we did not need to complete the square because there was no x term. But this one, we need to complete the square. Because it's a hyperbola, we're going to keep the minus sign out here. We're going to keep that minus sign out there. So we can see we factored out a negative 9 here. And that changed from a positive to a negative. Okay, let's go ahead and complete the square here. Let's divide this by 2. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Square that, that's positive 4. But when I add 4 here, I'm going to add 4 times negative 9. That means I'm going to subtract 36 over here. So x squared minus 9. Let's complete the square. Again, negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Okay, these are very similar to the other problems. We need to get this side to equal 1, so let's do so. So let's divide everything by 36. So we have here x squared over 36. These 9 and 36s cancel out, and we have 4 on the bottom. Y minus 2 squared over 4 equals 1. Okay, the last thing we need to do is let's get it fully into standard form here. So let's write it as x minus 0 squared over 6 squared minus y minus 2 squared over 4, which would be 2 squared, equals 1. Okay, so this is standard form right here. So either of these two equations would be acceptable. I just did a little bit more right here so you can see exactly what the A and the B values are. I mean, obviously you know what the square root of 36 and the square root of 4 are, but it just makes it a little more explicit so you can see it when you're trying to do it on your test. So right here we have all the information we need. We know what our center is. Oh, sorry about that. Center is 0, 2. Okay, I know my A is 6. My B is 2. That is a B. Okay, and right here, I know what happens is I'm going to start at 0, 2, and because the x is positive, I'm going to go plus or minus 6 in that direction, and then B, I'm going to go plus or minus 2 up and down. So let's go ahead and graph that. So using all this information now. The center is 0, 2. Okay, my A is 6. So, and that is in the x direction. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. and my b is in the y's. Again, just looking at that again, the x is in the 6 is under the x term, the 2 is under the y term. That's why I'm going plus or minus 6 in x, and plus and minus 2 in the y. Okay, to graph hyperbolas, what we're going to do is we're going to make this now into a square. Or I'm sorry, square, a rectangle. So again, I made it into a rectangle using these points as my midpoints of the rectangle. Now, I need the slant asymptotes. The slant asymptotes will go from corner to corner. So it's going to go from here to here, something like that. And then I'm going from corner to corner. So that and that. Okay, and the last thing I know is that the x value was positive here. X value is positive, so I'm going to use these vertices as my hyperbola. Okay, a lot of information there. Again, it's just getting familiar with all these different types of graphs and doing lots of problems. Any questions, please post it on the bottom of the video.